Welcome to Good Flight, where we talk about stuff.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, let me enter your ear holes.
Yeah, I oftentimes like to embarrass myself. I think that's part of my role on the show. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm like, where do I fit in? I think if I can embarrass myself before others do, then I
have the teenage angst.
Yes, exactly. I'm just
don't know where you fit in the world yet.
I'm just like a young, just a young boy out here, a young 34-year-old boy playing with his toys. That my mom just like still can't figure out what I do for a living. So at dinner this weekend or yesterday at Thanksgiving, she's like, so how's work going? I'm good, Mom. It's going really good. I just worked on a show for a week. She's like, good. So she's like, are you still, when are you going to get a real job? And I'm like, Mom, I got a real job. I'm working with, famous people and, stuff like that. It's hard to explain to those, on the outside what really drones are about.
Yeah, I think we're in a very similar boat here as the drone racers.
And that's why we're here for the Good Flight.
Yeah. So, Jet, our show, the Good Flight podcast, is really about telling the best stories that you can remember about flying drones, about how you got into drones, and maybe, the reasons why you like to do what you do, So along this little podcast journey, we're going to try to do a little deep dive into Jordan's past a little bit. So, I know you're good friends with Nurk, so I'm going to let him kind of do a little sweet introduction that he's ready for. Nurk, are you ready?
I am absolutely ready. So this two-time Drone Racing League world champion has been a huge inspiration to me along my FPV journey. Not only does he have filming credits for major car manufacturers such as Lamborghini, but he's taken his passion for downhill skiing and become a core member for Solomon Skiing Company on their production team. His passion for creating started with a background in photography, but he's adapted that creative passion into FPV drones. In addition to documenting his long-range adventures on Instagram and YouTube, he is also one of the most successful FPV frame manufacturers in the business. Please welcome Jordan Temkin, aka Jet.
Wow, thank you. That was quite the introduction.
I was realizing as we kind of got started that I forgot to bring up your beautiful voice, which I think is for our but I think that will speak for itself. So we're really glad that you're here. I think it was only natural that you'd get in on this early on in the process, not only because you're a great guy and fun to talk to, but I think that you've played a major role in the growth of the FPV racing sport in general, just having been a part of the Drone Racing League and a part of everything from the very beginning. So I guess I know your story pretty well, how you came to be flying, because I've probably heard it like 20 times because I am a huge Jet fan, which is what this episode is going to be, is me like nerding out over having Jet on the show. And but I think for those that maybe haven't heard it, I would love to have you give us a deep dive on your entry into drones.
Yeah, man. I mean, we actually met relatively early on, as in Paul and I. F3 Expo. So I think you talked about that with Gab in his episode. I peeked through that one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna jump in real quick because I haven't met Jeb before, but knowing Nurk now for almost over a year, I've kind of get the idea that you guys are like besties. You guys are like best friends, kind of.
Yeah, we've
getting into trouble together.
I mean, we took a vacation in Puerto Rico together, like
and to Vegas.
And Vegas. Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
little romantic tryst.
I think that's going to be the hardest part of stories. Is you like you said, remember. Like I have to remember the good stories.
It's a good problem to have too many good stories.
Yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be about drones. I mean, ideally, but no. Let's just. I want the juiciest stories.
Yeah, Switzerland. but I mean, my wife was there. She kind of dragged down the romantic aspect of our relationship.
Yeah. And we threw Gab in the middle of that one too.
And Annabelle. Although Annabelle kind of led the trip, I feel like, in terms of just being in charge. Annabelle is Gab's girlfriend. They've been together for 9-10 years, something like that. That's a long.
Pull the trigger, Gab.
I'm in a similar boat, actually. Allison and I have been together since college. I've been out of college longer than I've been in it. That's for darn sure.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, we've spent a lot of times. Like I met Nurk back in 2015.
Yep. Yeah, it was the tail end of 2015.
So we've both been like heavily crossing paths, especially when the DRL season's hot. We spend a lot of time in similar hotel rooms, and I actually got so sick of being in the same hotel room as Nurk. We now have, at least for DRL travel, our own rooms. We used to be bunked together.
Yeah, we used to have
one competition. Nurk snores like a log, if anyone knows.
Yeah, just look at him.
Yeah, look at he's got a very hairy chest. Let's just put it that way.
The beard like folds up over the face to just keep him warm.
He's just swallowing his beard the whole time. But yeah, he snored so loud that I think I sent like an official email in and said, "Hey guys,
I'm just trying to be the catalyst for change, you know?"
I think it was great because now we all get our own rooms. It's awesome.
Absolutely.
Wait, so you guys you basically didn't have
We
a
used
choice?
to be paired together, and like every event you'd get paired. And the problem was I was like, hey, we're competitors and I'm not sleeping for the 3 days because I can't sleep because this dude's like screaming next to me.
It worked.
His night terrors.
Yeah.
I gotta race jet tomorrow. Turns out I wasn't actually sleeping either. I was just pantomiming to keep you awake all night.
Yeah, right. So that was, I mean, I think from a competitive standpoint, a good night's rest is really important. So,
yeah. I mean, and even just being able to be in your own thoughts for a bit, to not have to, worry about having someone else in the room, where you can just kind of think, meditate, plan.
You can shower and air dry.
Yeah.
Without.
Although that would be a good power move for competitors.
Yeah.
Just walk out fully naked. Just be like,
full alpha.
This is how this is going to go tomorrow.
Yeah. Are you an air dryer? Is that what you're telling me?
I think I prefer air drying. Because there's a lot of hair and towels don't necessarily fully dry. But I do like to spend a minute or two walking around the house.
Well, how's Allison feel about this?
Great. I think she thinks it's hilarious.
Good. Awesome. But yeah, so originally you had started flying drones not just because you were interested in racing. I think you and Gab are kind of similar in that. And you're more interested in taking some pretty pictures, yeah?
So I spent most of my youths in photography classes. In both middle school and high school, we had a dark room. And I spent most of my time in those dark rooms. I went off to college. I attempted to be a computer science major, flunked out, decided I should become an art major because that's what you do when you flunk out.
Those are kind of polar opposites.
Right. Well, and that was like my passion. I was like, I'll be a comp sci major because you make money and I'm from Seattle. So like jobs are of many in terms of that industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I instead was like, okay, I'm going to follow my passion instead of cash money. So I became a photography major, and that's what I ended up graduating with, Bachelor in Arts. And I did that for a while. And while I was in college, I was trying to meld like my passion that I have with technology. I had built a 3D printer, and I was trying to make 3D printed negatives, and it was kind of this weird. Because this was back in 2012 when like 3D printing was still a new kind of thing.
Yeah, it wasn't a household thing.
It still is. It was a hobby. Very much it was kind of, well, you like couldn't buy a pre-built like you can now on Amazon. Like you very much had to build it yourself. Kind of like the early days of drones.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, what the heck can I do with this thing? And I found some files that some dude had built a drone. And I was like, cool, that sounds like a fun, project to tinker with. So I built a drone, had struggled to fly it for like 6 months because I spent 2 weeks trying to figure out why the propellers had to go on a certain way, because that information wasn't readily available.
Right.
And a few other mistakes I made. I had a DX6i Spectrum radio, but I had bought an FrSky micro receiver, and I couldn't bind them, and I couldn't figure out why I couldn't bind them, because all the things online were just like, push the bind button and it's bound. And I was like, why is it? So I spent a long time like struggling with that. And that was back in like the KK2 days. And at the time I was doing bike delivery in Colorado, in Boulder, Colorado, for a sandwich shop, and just like ski bum, bike delivery, fixed gear life. And I was like, man, I should really figure out how I can use this flying drone thing to film my skier, mountain biking, fixed gear buddies. And I at the time sucked way too much at flying to ever have that be safe in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you already threw the photography degree out the window. You were just like, I'm going to deliver sandwiches.
Yeah. Well, kind of. I was taking photos for my buddy had opened a bike shop, and I was like doing photos for him for his store and like that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was like, photography is fun. It's not, I didn't want to follow down like the wedding photography, event photography line, because that's like, I did a
turns out you sacrificed your weekends just as much by doing drones.
And I just wasn't enjoying it. Like, I did a few events here and there, and it just wasn't for me. And so I kind of went ski bum route. And then 2015 rolled around, and I found out about, I had met Jesse Perkins, who is the founder of Tiny Whoop, and Chris Fisher, another friend of mine out there. And that was right when Drone Nationals 2015 got announced. And we were like, hey, let's all road trip. And so I was working in the photography archives lab in the basement of the library, looking through like old plate glass photos from the late 1800s, as well as my sandwich shop job and a couple other odd things. And I just like quit all of that. And I was like, I'm going to drone race for 6 months.
That's the ultimate ski bum.
Yeah.
Just like, these jobs that I already don't really want to do, I'm just going to be done with them and not do a different job. Like,
it's crazy. It was pretty much, I mean, it was just luck, man. Like, it just turned out that I had saved up enough money to survive for 6 months, and I was like, I'm going to do this for the summer and see where it takes me. And then
that's insane, especially then, like, because there wasn't like a scene then. Like, that 2015 Drone Nationals race was like the first major race that anyone had put on, and so at that time, you're not saying, oh, I'll see where I can get in 6 months because I might be able to win something or make some money doing this. Like,
no,
I mean, there wasn't even, I think that was even pre-section, like 333 exemption or 107 exemption. Like, and so it's, you're just saying, I'm packing up the family. We're moving out to the West to look for gold.
Well, it was just me. Well, there was no family. So that was, I mean, I think that was the thing, was it was just, there was no like, hey, you can get sponsored, or, oh, you can be a YouTuber, or, like, that right now we actually have the beginnings of an industry in terms of like, if you can film and do the videography stuff, you can be a YouTube personality, you can do the affiliate link thing, you can, like back then, or you could start a little shop. Back then there was like, Get FPV and Ready Made RC and a few stores, and then sponsorships were like only for people like Sharpoo and Steel.
Yeah.
Right. So it was the very, very beginnings. And I think it was just, I was just so passionate about it. I really liked drones, and I thought it was cool. So it was like drone by summer and ski bum by winter kind of thing.
So that sounds like perfect in Colorado.
Yeah, it was fun, man. And then now it's 2020, and I still consider myself a drone bum.
Yeah.
Drone bum. I love that.
Drone bum.
Yeah. So what about photography? I have a similar background. I also took photography in high school. I took photography classes in college. I snuck my way into like 300 level photography classes without prerequisites.
Nice.
So what about photography to you attracted you to drones? Like, because I think there's a parallel there, but I want to hear it.
Is the 300 level photography the ones with like the nude models? Is that why you skipped the prereqs?
Yeah, I just felt like I didn't need the basics, because I already had that kind of, and I was already investing myself a little bit. The 300 level was like color darkroom photography, color film, and like some more. Basically, I was able to skip it because I was like a non-degree student. I backdoored my way into Penn State University, but that's a story for another day, dude. I have to tell our listeners how to get into any college you want without applying. Yeah.
Oh, that's a YouTube title if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. But so like, what is it about drones? Like, what's the parallel there between photography and drones? I get it. You can put a camera on a drone and take pretty pictures, but like as a creative person, behind the camera, your brain is in a different space. And I think as a pilot, your brain is in a different space. Is there a parallel there?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Like it's about that creative expression of just wanting to show the world in a different way. Or like, everyone sees the things in front of them, but when you can capture it in a way that is awe-inspiring to someone, I think there's a certain gratification, right? When you take something that seems so mundane and ordinary, but you capture it so beautifully that people are like, holy shit. And then, because to each artist, I think every situation is going to be expressed differently depending on who they are.
Yeah.
So that was drones to me, was like capturing these perspectives that were otherwise unattainable or even had anyone ever experienced before, right? So for me, I was in Colorado. A lot of what I did when I lived in Colorado, and I still do when I live here in Seattle now, is go fly in the mountains and long range. And that was me getting to experience the world from this perspective that I was like, I'm flying over this mountain and no one has ever seen this mountain like I have. Like it was like a world explorer kind of feeling, right? Yeah. Where you're like, I have found this new island with some indigenous species of animal that no one has ever seen before. And it was that same kind of excitement that really drew me to drones. You fly over a mountain and you're like, right here where I am seeing that rock right now, no one in the world has ever seen the world like that before.
Even if they have, it's still new to you. And that's what's so cool about photography, because the lighting's different, the way you capture it's different. Yeah. And I think with FPV drones, it's more than like any other type of drone. It's just it's like the movement involved in capturing that scene is so unique too, because it's not locked on a gimbal too. So
yeah.
Well, it's immersive too, right? It instead of looking through the lens, you are physically in that space. Now you're not just behind the camera, you're inside the camera, ripping, flying down the mountain at 100 miles an hour. Like there's a big difference between like click and oh my god.
Yeah, but and then in the end they still come back to that same like experiential for both you and then the viewer, right? Yeah. Like now you can take that and you go upload it on your favorite social medias and you get to share that same experience that you had with other people. And that was a huge part of FPV, and it still is now, right? Is the sharing aspect. Like it's all fun and all to film and experience that mountain dive or that chase by yourself. The honest truth is like we all love that bit of validation that comes in from other people going, that was fucking rad too.
Yeah. Why do you think that there's such an emphasis on, having a social presence combined with the FPV? And I know that not everyone strives for that, and I know not everyone aims to like make it big or something like that.
Right.
But at the same time, I think I would say a majority of people immediately are like, click, okay, can I put that on Instagram now or something like that, or like I want other people to see. Why do you think that is?
Well, okay, so I think there's two parts to that.
Okay.
To me, like, so I don't want to sound like a dick.
Go ahead.
No.
But we're gonna do it anyways. So to me, like when I make a video and I upload it, it's because I enjoyed the whole process, right? I enjoyed the flight, I enjoyed the editing, I enjoyed the uploading, and I enjoy the people that watch it going, that was really cool. Thanks for sharing. Right. It's that community aspect of it. And
not sounding like a dick so far.
Well, sure. And well, here it is. Here we go. Okay. I think some people can lose the sight of that. Okay. Right. Like by wanting that fame or whatever. I think it's very easy to forget about the reasons why you started doing it in the first place. Right.
So you're saying it's no longer about the process and the
enjoyment that you're personally getting.
Self-satisfaction. Right. It's now about the clicks and the views.
Well, it's you get the self-satisfaction from a different avenue, right? Your self-satisfaction
and
is
external.
No longer, right. It's not from yourself. It's from, however numbers and likes.
Why is that dangerous? Why is that bad?
I don't think it's bad. I think bad is the wrong word. I think it just depends on what you enjoy. If you do enjoy that aspect of it and getting like a higher score, awesome, good for you. For me personally, I enjoy that, like just the sharing, that community aspect of it is having, and it's easy. Like I've lost touch of it here and there, I feel like. And then whenever you go back and find yourself again, and you're like, oh, this is why I'm doing this. This is why it's fun for me.
Yeah.
It's always like a very revitalizing experience. And that's definitely, I feel like that's happened to me throughout my drone career. And I know I guess we call it burnout, right?
Yeah.
Like you do something so much that you're like, man, why am I doing this? It's not even fun anymore. And then you go out with a specific buddy at a specific place or something, and you're like, oh, this is why I'm doing this, and this is why I'm enjoying this. And yeah, I think it's easy to lose touch of that in the whole social media world.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest dangers about social and driving validation and value from social media is that it's now an extrinsic thing that is impacting you. So if you don't take the time to find validation in it for yourself, you're the only opinion that you can control. So like once bad opinions start coming in and you're souring the one place that you find validation for that, it's now outside of your control to be satisfied with the work that you're doing. And as a result, placing too much value on what other people think about something. And this is true for life. I'm not just saying drone videos, but like placing too much value on what other people are saying about your stuff is very, very harmful to your brain, and your brain kind of starts to realize like, oh yeah, maybe I am worthless and I should stop doing this. And it's
not even like people saying bad things necessarily. For me, it's the enjoyment and the hobby turning into work, right? And this is where my question comes in that I have for Paul. Ever since I've met you've been an incredible, like I would use the word, you're like a prolific creator. Like you are putting out a half dozen videos a week for the past 4 or 5 years. Maybe not that many, but it feels like that sometimes. And like, how the hell do you do that? And that's like part of that, like the burnt, like, have you ever felt like you were burning out and you're like, what am I doing? Why am I still doing this?
Yeah.
And then how did you overcome that and continue to create and come up with content even when you're feeling like, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah. So couple different thoughts. And I don't, first of all, I don't know the answer because if I did, then
just have a go-to answer for that one.
Well, then I would have a video every single day, right? Like I'd take 2 days off a week. Like,
wait, you do have a video every single day.
Every single weekday.
It's pretty crazy. Like I don't know anyone else who just like can come out. Like I tried to do a video a week, and I got sick of it. Like in a week.
It's so I guess the first place that I would go to is it's just a discipline. At a certain point,
which I haven't done personally,
I set the goal, right? So like for this month, this is November of 2020. World's kind of going back into quarantine. I'm not traveling, so I know I have no excuse not to get something done every day, right? And something that seems like a pretty low barrier to entry relative to, like other work is I can make a video about something that I really like doing. So on one aspect is a discipline. It's like it's midnight. I don't have my video ready for tomorrow, and I've got 4 hours of editing ahead of me. Well, you should have done it earlier.
Well, you should have hired Winston earlier.
Right. Well, yeah. Or Winston sends me a revision at 4 a.m. and I gotta get so on one end it's just a choice, right? Like right. I'm not trying to trivialize that. I'm just saying I'm not giving myself the option not to. It's, you have to do this. You are going to live up to your expectation, or else you have failed.
Right.
Another aspect of it is you're saying you're burned out because you're not enjoying the thing that you love the most anymore, or you potentially start feeling like.
I think I went through that. Like, it happened hard after you beat me in Saudi. I think that was like, I've gotten over that hump personally, but like I really felt that when that happened. Not that this is like you've wronged me and now I need to get it off my chest therapy session.
We can talk about it.
But I mean,
Paul just had like the evilest smirk on his face.
Yeah, he just a little ding ding right
I don't want to just win. I want to make you quit the hobby.
No, but affected your life greatly is something you're never going to forget.
Dude, it really did though. Like, that was the thing, was like, that was a very hard hit. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing drone racing?
Yeah.
Like, is this a sustainable practice?
Well, and it's funny because like the opposite is true when you win, right? It's
sure.
Okay, everything is validated now.
Well, and getting through that, I think, is like something that's very important to be able to do. And I've seen you continually do that throughout your drone career constantly.
Yeah.
And it's pretty mind-blowing to me.
So the next thing I was going to say is, one of the most freeing things for me has been to not see drones as a hobby anymore. It's my business. I love the work that I do, and I love doing the work. Like, I enjoy it. But when I get to the point where I feel burned out, or I don't feel like excited to go make a video, I still have the discipline of a business to fall back onto. Like, I need to provide for my family. I need to, even if I don't like my job as like a 9-to-5 programmer, right? I still got to go in and do it. So, and there's going to be days that I love working as a programmer, and there's going to be days that I hate working as a programmer. Right. I shouldn't make a distinction against drones. So I'm in the business of drone racing is really freeing in a way, because I can choose to go fly instead of having to feel the need to go fly.
Well, and you do enjoy it.
I do. I absolutely. I love it. I love this grind. I love working on it. I basically spend the whole day sending Winston like comments from videos that are like, like coming either really, really hateful ones, or, like people talking about this podcast where they're just like, I've actually learned something from this. You're not just blathering on about stuff. I'm like, well, that's great. I'm excited to hear that. So you take those moments for what they are, you get the value out of them, but at the same time, you can fall back onto discipline and not onto, oh, how do I make myself feel like I need to go fly? Like, most of the Winston, I'd love to have you chime in here, but like, I've gotten pretty freaking frustrated on days that we're trying to film when like equipment won't work or something like that, and it's just like, I think we both ask, why are we doing this?
I definitely remember the GoPro video was one of those days where just like nothing was going right, and I remember like I noticed it and I just kind of like gave you some space, but I was just like, don't worry, man. We got like, I don't know. I just tried to help push through it and keep positive. But no, I mean, I think we definitely all have those days.
But we pushed through it. We got it done. We maintained the business and moved forward, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we got a good video out of it, and I still enjoyed it. By the end of the day, you had a smile on your face, and
once I got to drive the RC car, it all changed. Yeah. So to summarize on all of that, Jordan, it's just a matter of saying, I have to do this, and not waiting to I want to do this. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's the why is interesting, and it's sometimes the hardest thing to figure out.
Right.
And about myself too, personally, before I got into drones, I was going through a struggle. What do I want to do with my life? And I was working with my dad's company, and he's still doing it. He's selling office furniture since 1983, office environments, baby. But I was working out of college. Yeah. Office environments, workplace innovation. That's the slogan. So after college, I was working for him for 6 years, and I was going, it was good, ups and downs, but I realized that what I was doing wasn't really what I wanted to do. Why? It's hard to figure out. I realized that I like adrenaline. I like technology. I like being on the cutting edge. I like taking little risks and getting rewarded for those risks, and like being able to use my creativity to inevitably produce something for somebody else as like a service, checked a lot of boxes for me.
Yeah.
And drones, being a aerial cinematographer, aerial filmmaker with drones, checked a lot of those boxes. And I also like problem solving, you know? So I feel like that's the same thing I hear, Paul, when you're producing content. I feel like you like to teach people. You're a great teacher. You love explaining things in incredible depth and teaching others through the journey that you've taken. It might not be like the right way or whatever, but this is the journey that you've taken.
Yeah.
And this is the things that you've learned. Here, others can learn from me, you know, through that. And I think that's like kind of what I'm seeing watching your content, watching your videos, is you sharing that journey to try to teach people. I don't know, you know, Jet, I feel like I'm watching your videos and you have that cinematography eye. It's like you have that creative drive. You're not just trying to get likes on Instagram or whatever, because really, if you were, I mean, that you might be selling yourself short, because there's a drive beyond that. Or
I agree.
Honestly, you'd probably be doing it even if Instagram wasn't a thing, and you'd just be you whatever avenue to put your videos out there, you would be doing. But it's not about the likes. It's about that passion inside of you that's like, I need to create content, and I feel like my backyard or this mountain, there is something like hidden there. And with my camera, I can capture a little bit of that hidden beauty in a unique way. And like, that's the driving factor. And publishing it on internet and Instagram is the result. You know what I mean? So
I completely agree. Yeah. Cause I started an Instagram for after drones. Personally, like, because it was out of necessity.
Oh yeah, and having the discipline to go and do those things also opens up more opportunities. Like, it's kind of self-serving in a way, because like by choosing to document the process, you also then appeal to people that want to have their story told as a part of that. So like, you know, some of the best moments that I've had in drones are directly related to the discipline that has been put in, if that makes sense. So like, by doing the grind, then we get to go to Switzerland and fly drones in the mountains for a few months, or not months, like, that. Yeah, like stuff like that. Like, or like, you know, Winston and I went to Iceland a few weeks back, and I figured out how to get that trip to at least come close to breaking even by finding sponsorship, by doing the work to film the whole process, which at times was pretty arduous, and I think we almost killed Winston a couple times, just because of the environment that we were in. But you know, instead of saying, okay, we gotta wait until we feel good to do this, it's okay, let's set our goal and just march after that goal until we get to it, and then be happy, and then enjoy the product when you get there. But one of the things I love the most about Jordan's style with your videos is you kind of just like, yeah, let's go hang out. Like, you kind of like invite people into like that day in your world, and you know, suddenly you're in the car driving up the mountain, and then you're stuck in the mud, and you're like, well, shit, what are we gonna do now? Like, you're kind of like pulled in. Like, it's this very like conversational style that I really, really like, and I think plays extremely well on camera.
Should we talk about that shenanigan that I got into on Wednesday?
You want to talk about it?
Ago? Oh,
I haven't had a chance to watch the video. I've been with in-laws all day, but
it was, yeah. So I'll give you the synopsis.
For us. Let's go to the very beginning.
So
it was 1991 on a rainy afternoon.
Well, it was 2020. So I have a friend of mine, Will, and he like a month or two ago was like, "Hey man, I want to learn to fly drones." And I was like, "Sweet, take my Taranis, go buy a DRL sim, like get, you know, a couple hours in there, and then we'll go fly."
How long have you known Will for?
About a year.
Okay.
Yeah. So he works at Microsoft. He's a tech guy, programmer. He's
just asking the drone racing league world champion, like, "Hey, I want to fly drones."
Well, he comes over. He's like part of our eating group. Like we every weekend we all like cook food and have a feast with some friends.
Fantastic.
If you're not following Jordan on Instagram, his stories make me very hungry.
Yeah, we cook a lot.
In fact, one of the questions that we're going to come through later is from Stefan, I think his name was. He's asking when the cookbook cookbook comes out.
Jet Cooks.
Yeah, Jet Cooks.
But yeah, so he's part of that group, and he's had some interest in drones before. Like he flew a Tiny Whoop one night. He was over here and was really good at it. Like really
annoyingly good.
He, within the first half a battery, was flying under the table and like around the house.
I hate that.
Like he'd flown a Mavic here and there, but that was it.
It took me like a month to get to that point.
Dude, trust me. Yeah. So I took him out to the mountains a few weeks ago, and I literally just like threw him in the worst possible first flight situation ever. Threw him in the goggles. We were on top of a mountain in a forest. Like if you crash anywhere, it's going to take an hour for us to find it kind of spot. And he just took off and just started like diving trees and ripping around. And I was like, fuck you, man. Like, this is crazy. It blew my mind how good and natural of a pilot he was.
What does he do? Do you know what he does like in his job? Is he visually oriented or is he like a numbers guy?
I'm not 100% sure, but he's got like a full on, so Paul knows, a sim racing rig, like Fanatec direct drive.
Yeah.
Like he has a very accurate ability when it comes to controlling things, is I guess the way I'd put it. And I think that kind of crossed over is like just video games and sim driving and just those like minor motor skills, you know?
Yeah. Well, and he spent time playing the DRL sim.
Yeah, and he spent 15 hours. Yeah.
15 hours is plenty of stick. Like you rewind to what your experience, our experience was like when we got started flying drones. Is like there was no such thing as a simulator.
It was like 5 minutes of stick time over a course of a month.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And
he did 15 hours
in a weekend.
Jordan, once you figure out how to put your propellers on the right way, you're like, oh, I can hover now.
Yes. And then I would crash immediately, break the 3D printed frame, have to reprint a new arm over the course of 6 hours. That is a whole, don't ever 3D print a frame.
So you and Will.
Yeah, so me and Will, after we flew, he was like, all right, I'm in. What do I need to get? And I was just like, go buy the DJI goggles, go buy the air unit.
Here's some affiliate links.
Yeah, here's actually I didn't, that was stupid. And then I was like, motors,
Business
parts,
drone racing.
like, don't worry about it, I got you. And he came over and we built him a Super G. And now like every weekend he goes and like hovers around outside of his house. So yesterday I was like, hey man, let's go fly in the mountains. Because we've been doing so much sim racing, I've been like, I don't want to race because I don't want to go fly because it'll mess me up, but screw it. So we went and went to this park, flew a place called Piano Ranch, which is like a local drone field. We kind of got bored of it after a few batteries. So we started going into the woods and we flew a bit in the woods up in an area, North Bend. It's a town up here. And then I was like, okay, let's go find like a tree spot. And there was like a campground, empty campground because it's kind of rainy. And we pulled off into it, flew around, no big deal. And when we tried to get out, it was just like slimy mud goo. Like, and I have
sound.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Well, you can't even stand on it because you just slide like ice.
Oh man.
And it just. I tried to get out, and I have a Land Cruiser that I've been working on over the summer. I bought it last winter. Over the summer, I did pretty much a full engine seal rebuild. I rebuilt the axles, new radiator, new oil pump. I rebuilt the front end of this Land Cruiser over the summer, and so I have yet to get it in a situation that I couldn't get it out of. It's triple lockers, front, center, rear. Like this is an off-road machine. This is like when you see the video of like, you know, the guys in Saudi Arabia ripping it through dune deserts, like they're driving a Land Cruiser.
Yeah.
So I felt unstoppable in this thing
until a little slippery goo mud.
Up until Wednesday. And yeah, we just couldn't get out. Like there was a tree, and it kind of had to zigzag, and it was canted. So every time I gave it any power, it would just slide my butt out.
Yeah. Yep.
And I tried locking it out, and it has some whatever tires that the guy who sold it to me has on it.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the right tires. It just was a bad spot, and I gave it a bit too much gusto, and I hit the tree in front of me with the front bumper and dented it in. And I was like, all right, maybe I should call it. And luckily, when we went and stood like next to the cliff edge, and I held my cell phone up, I got a bar of cell signal.
Yeah, that was my next question: was how lucky was it that you had cell service?
Very. Otherwise, it would have been like a walk, a very long walk. So I called up my buddy Brian, and I was like, "Hey, man, you busy?" It was like 3:30 on a Wednesday.
How far from civilization are you at this point?
We're about an hour and a half.
Oh, that's not too bad.
Yeah,
an hour and a half from Brian.
It's inconvenient, but
yes, it was. Well, so luckily Brian was kind enough to take 3-4 hours out of his day to come save my dumbass.
Hopefully, you bought him some beer or something.
Well, I will once we can.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
We're out in Seattle, where we're in quarantine city right now. But yeah, so that was a dumb adventure, and now I'm like, I literally have open right here in a Chrome tab like winches and front bumpers.
That's gonna be my next question. You buying a winch now or what?
Yeah. It went from like middle priority list to like top of the list.
It would have been a very different day if you had a winch.
Yeah, and once Brian showed up, he just pulled me out. It took us like 10 minutes.
Nice.
Right away.
That's awesome.
Don't forget the snatch block. The snatch block is important too.
That is true. We didn't have to use one, but yeah.
That's what I love so much about FPV is those kinds of journeys, those adventures where like you put yourself into, and like that's what flying itself is kind of like putting yourself into a circumstance where you could have an adventure and then just kind of waiting for that to happen. Like, I mean, better or worse, like that was still a great day. Like, you're
we had a blast.
Right. And it's so cool to me. I love everything like that about that.
And I got a 25-minute YouTube video out of it.
I mean, it is in my watch list when I have time to actually sit down and like watch them.
One of the coolest parts was actually this camera right here.
Yeah.
The Sony A7S with its dual native ISO. So for all the camera nerds out there, 12,800 ISO is crystal clean, no noise.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And it's mind blowing. Like I've just never experienced a camera like that. And it sees in the dark. But yeah, I mean, like it's those adventures and stories, just like, I mean, our Puerto Rico trip a year ago, which we never made a video about.
Yeah, we still need to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to have it at this point. Let's put Winston on it. Boom. Winston, you're up. No, but like, yeah, we went to, I got a Instagram message from a guy one day, no idea who he was. He's like, "Hey, you want to come to Puerto Rico and fly drones?" I'm like, yes. How to what? And we kind of just started down the path, and early on in the process, I was like, it'd be fun to do this, but I don't want to do it alone. So like, it'd just be more fun to bring someone else. So I was just like, how would you feel about what's better than one drone pilot? It's 2 drone pilots. Like that's pretty much the pitch that I gave to him. And he's like, "You're right. Yeah, we need 2 people. It makes so much more sense." I'm like, "Yeah, it does." And they shipped us down to Puerto Rico. They have this abandoned naval base, like the Roosevelt Roads Naval Base. It was shut down in like the 80s, but it's all been under lock and key. So it's just like perfectly overgrown, but it's not like smashed in windows and graffiti everywhere. It's just there, and it is this perfect like post-apocalyptic environment that we got to go just wander around the desert. I got so dehydrated I was throwing up. Like it was a good time.
And I have a slow-mo video of Paul squeegeeing out his shirt with sweat, and you could probably fill like a 16-ounce like
it was
bottle.
Well, and then like between those that time up. We would go like just dive in the ocean and swim for a bit, cool off, get back on shore, and go fly somewhere. It was amazing.
Air dry.
Yeah.
I think what you guys are talking about, these little adventures that you find yourself in. I talked about it on another episode too. I used to have an FJ Cruiser, and I remember getting stuck in that thing.
Yeah,
it's some of my fondest memories. Not just, I mean, I guess it kind of relates to drones because we've all crashed like dozens of drones, and I don't know what it is you learn from those experiences when you get unstuck or you get out. Maybe you learn what the limit is. What's the limit I can go through? What's the limit that this equipment can handle or I can handle? And then how the hell do you get out of this situation? Or how do you find your drone that you just crash somewhere? That's kind of fun too. It sucks when you lose it. It sucks when you like dent your bumper and you got to buy some other shit. But that's just like part of the journey, I guess. It's part of the paying your dues, I think. As like
well, and they're more memorable, right? Like all the times you go out and you just like have a standard day. You know, do you remember those as much as the times that you went through some heartache and then persevered, right?
Yeah, no, I definitely am on board with that. That's why my biggest advice for new people to flying is don't be afraid to crash. Like by pushing the limit and potentially having an incident or breaking something, you're going to learn more in that moment than you will in 100 really good flights, you know?
Right.
Or 100 like safe flights where you're just like, you know, flying around. But I don't think everybody feels the same way, because I think it's like a personality trait that is, you know, shared amongst, I guess, maybe professionals of drones and probably other industries that are high risk taking and all that other stuff, you know, but definitely not everyone feels the same way.
No. I have a good friend of mine that I go fly long range with, Benson. Yeah, he hates crashing. Like, does not like it, will not do it. And a lot of it's because he flies long range and he needs to be able to trust his gear. And once it's crashed, he can't trust it at 2 kilometers out.
Yeah.
But there have been a couple times that he crashed and I legit was like, yes, we can go try and get it now. You know, like there's something about hunting down a drone that's like 2K out on the mountain across the valley and you have to go find that thing that I personally like mildly sadistically enjoy. Yeah, like I think that there's it's like that silver lining kind of thing, right? Like there's always some good in the bad, and crashing a drone, it's really fun, especially when you find it. When I lived in Colorado, I crashed in a river once when I was living with Travis, Moke, and Zach Thayer. And Moke and I spent, I think, 4 or 5 days in like October or
so it's cold is what you're saying.
Like the edge of the river is frozen. And we went to the local adventure like rafting place and we're like, hey, can we rent some wetsuits? And they're like, no, man, we put those away like months ago. But they dug them out for us. And we actually became such regulars at that place that they were like, oh, hey, we left some out for you. Do you want to just buy them?
They're like, you paid them off like twice now with Reynolds. Just buy it. People have pissed in these wetsuits. They're yours to piss in.
We actually did that. We ended up buying like old ones that they were going to throw out anyways. But yeah, I mean, and we spent like 4 days like snorkeling around in a frozen river looking for a drone in some rapids, and we found it. We found it and it still flew, dude. Like it still was fine. 4 days under a rock in rapids. I mean, it's like super fresh snow melt, so I guess there's no like salt in it. But man, that was like that feeling of like discovery. I don't think like that's the biggest high for me is like
what was on that camera? What made you guys go back 4 days in a row? I mean, I would have called it after a day or two.
Adventure.
It wasn't necessarily about the footy, even though it's always about the footy. It was just like it was more stubbornness, I think. It was like, hey, we know where the drone is. It's in this like 10-foot by 10-foot area.
Yeah.
Like we have the DVR to prove it. We just have to find it. And I consider myself very stubborn in finding drones. I have never lost a drone yet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, okay. There's an asterisk on that. I did lose a drone once. I was up flying with Bryce Presswich, Skyberries, and Gab 707 in Colorado. And I fail-safed on the other side of the mountain when we were on our way to the airport. And we just had to bail. Yeah. But a year later, I got a message on Facebook where apparently some hunter had found the drone and given it to the local FPV club. And then the kid that got it had found I had written jet on the battery. And he messaged me and was like, hey, man, is this your drone?
That's absolutely ridiculous.
So
imagine being like a FPV like fanboy, this like kid in the middle of fucking nowhere, Colorado, comes across a jet drone.
Yeah. I let him keep it. I was like, hey, man, that's yours.
I want to imagine that guy just thinks that you just litter them around all the time. Now you're just like, oh, he's Jed. He doesn't care.
That was the only one I lost. That is the first and only.
Because I found this drone, we know that you can assume that you just are like, it's
there's
gone.
like 20 of them in that same area. No, every other drone I've gone and found. I've even I've climbed mountains literally and waded through rivers, and I've trampled down an entire like half acre of blackberry bushes just to find a GoPro session.
Oh,
I found that. I actually went and rented a like metal detector. Oh, wow. I spent like 3 hours metal detecting this whole like field that was filled with blackberry bushes, like shoulder high.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then eventually, when I was just about to give up, I stepped on it and I heard it go beep, beep, beep. And I was like, oh, sweet. There it is.
Nice. That's amazing.
But yeah, I think that's
I lost a drone once. I was flying off my buddy's boat, and there was a music festival happening in Newport, Rhode Island. There was hundreds of boats out on the water, anchored out, listening to this live music. Mm-hmm. And I was like I was on my 4th or 5th flight, and I was cruising around, just like enjoying, the time, enjoying the festival and all that. And I was on FR Sky R9, and for whatever reason, fail safe. I didn't lose video. I'm like 150 feet from the boat. I see the thing fall into the water, and I'm like, son of a bitch. So like, I don't know how, it was probably, 60 feet deep or something. And earlier that day, I met this guy rolling around in a pontoon boat. I actually gave him a beer, and he was like a rescue diver. And he was telling us stories about how after this festival, he'll go around and people will hire him, because a lot of people will cut their anchors if they get like tangled with another boat. They'll just cut the rope, and those anchors are worth like maybe $500-$600. So he'll just go around and he'll find cell phones and anchors and other things. And he gave me his card, so I called the dude and I paid him $100 to find this drone that went down in the water. I said, "Hey, it's John, the guy who was flying the drone around. Remember me?" Anyway, it's in the water. And he's like, "All right, pay me $100 and I'll go dive for it." And guess what?
Yeah.
He never found it.
Oh. Did he keep your $100?
I think, he kept the $100. I think he just took it. I think he never even went in the water.
Took it and
I'm calling you
away.
out.
Random diver, man.
Dude.
That's all you got to do it yourself, man. You should have just gone and rented a dive suit, took some dive classes, become an advanced scuba diver, and just, there you go.
And now you have the adventure. And then make a 25-minute YouTube video and be done.
Yeah, there you go. Worth it.
You don't always get it back. You don't always find it. But like, you know what? At the end of the day, you still got to buy another one. So I just go, whenever I crash something, like immediately I'm trying to re-up on my checkout. I find that if I wait like a certain amount of time, it just becomes a procrastination thing. So if I break something, I'm that day or that hour, I'm like on Get FPV somewhere. I'm trying to like replace it or buy another one.
You need a monthly subscription plan where you just get a new drone.
Actually, speaking of, I actually have my laptop is sitting on. My laptop is on one of these freaking FPV crates.
There you go.
Unopened from last year. I don't even know what's in here.
From last year?
Yeah. Should we give it away?
That's a really Schrodinger cat kind of situation. Like, it may or may not be good. Like, there might be parts in it.
Should we give it away on the pod? Hey,
sure.
Whoever's listening to this, comment on the Instagram, on the new Good Flight Instagram page. Say
if you're in the United States, and we'll pay for shipping.
Yeah, I'd love to give this to you guys. I would love to. Tell me how should we do it?
What do you think is in the box? Comment on the post. What do you think is in the box? John will post a photo to Instagram. You say what you think is in it.
What's in the box?
Did we open it on the next podcast so that we find out? So like we'll announce the winner, open it, look, and then send it? Or
I just got to find out what else I'm going to put my laptop on for the next episode.
You're right. That's the real problem.
Yeah. So I want to take a step back from like long range and adventures and kind of go back into the world of racing, because I've got a question that I don't know if I've ever even asked you like offline. So you started Drone Racing League in level 2?
I was the backup pilot.
Yeah, the backup pilot for level 2, which is LA Apocalypse. that first season of the Drone Racing League, you became the first world champion of DRL. And I would argue probably one of the first like world champions of drone racing overall. Like, yeah, there was the Saudi race,
Sean Taylor,
and there was MultiGP, but you were also in a position where that win was publicized, televised, articles were written about it, all that kind of stuff. I'm curious, from, basically having started flying in 2015-ish and, becoming the world champion, like essentially in a year and a half at that point.
I started flying in 2013.
Got you.
So it'd been 3 plus.
Yeah.
It was like 3 or 4 years. Yeah.
But what changed for you between not and being a world champion? Can you kind of think of any moments that kind of like you're like, oh, this is a result of this, or this is a upside of this is a downside of this? I'm curious for having been like we're one of the first like publicized world champions of something. What was that experience like in that way?
I don't know, man. Like, to me, it was really cool to have that like bit of legacy, I guess, added to it, where it was like, no one can take away the fact that I was the first Drone Racing League champion, and I will now hold that with me for my whole life. And I think like that is just more like a personal memento kind of thing, where it's just like it helped validate that whole I had quit all my jobs to be a drone bum thing. And it was like, oh, hey, you actually have something to prove to yourself that was like a good choice. Even though I still think even if I hadn't won, it would have been a good choice, more just for mental sanity. Like, I really wanted to quit all my jobs and fly drones. So I'm glad I did that either way. And then in addition to that, like, the real truth is getting a paycheck. Like, I was straight that December 30th or 31st, I had like $200 left in my bank account. Like, I was, hey, if you don't win this, you're getting a job. You're like going to go job hunting.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that was a big one for me, was like, hey, now I can continue doing the thing that I have the passion for, and I can keep drone racing at least for another year. So that was the big one for me. I don't know if in terms of like, if you're asking, did it change the way?
I was curious to hear like what is your reaction to that question? Like, what do you think of before and after being a world champion of something, and especially one of the first
for me?
You don't have to say it like that, dude. You could say it like this: a world champion,
a world champion,
champion of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it really changed much for me, at least in terms of what I was doing and why I was doing it. Like, I wanted to fly drones and be a drone bum, and what it did was it helped me continue to be a drone bum. and I'm still a drone bum, and it's almost 2021.
Do you plan to continue being a drone bum?
It's almost my six-month drone bum anniversary, or 6 year
6 year drone bum anniversary. I think we found the title of this podcast.
Yeah.
Jordan celebrates his 6 year anniversary of being a drone bum.
But I mean, isn't that like, I think that like we were talking about, there's a certain personality trait that people have, right? And it's I think it comes from that extreme sport personality trait where it's like skate bum, ski bum, drone bum, van life, whatever that, like all those, whatever that personality. Lifestyle. Yeah, it's that hashtag documentary lifestyle.
Okay, yeah. So, but for a snowboarder, it's like shredding the gnar is like is the reason. Like for that,
we do that, don't we?
I do.
Yeah.
For a drone bum, what is it? Where's the POW? Like, what's the POW day?
It's still the same to me. It's like golden hour, dope, rock face, buddies,
getting
and
sucked in the mud without
and like shredding that sick gap, man. You know, like it's the same thing to me, where it's like when I was, I mean, I still ski every winter and I love it. And you chase the POW day and just getting that first track. is like, man, that 3-hour hike to get that first track in that POW was worth it. And like we do the same thing, at least for drones, where it's like you wake up at 4 a.m. and you drive 3 hours to hit that one spot at sunrise to get that like, woohoo, fuck yeah factor, right? Like it's like, to me, it's the same mental space.
Yeah, it's that same chase.
Right. It's chasing that perfect high of whatever gets you off. And I think, to me, that the drone moment and the ski moment are very, 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 very similar in terms of just like the happiness that it really gives.
You got to be one of the happiest guys out there on the drone game on the YouTubes, for sure. And I appreciate
think there's
that.
a lot of happy guys out there, man. Like that's, I mean, just like that video. So I sent Paul the 10-inch drone, right? Mm-hmm. That monstrosity. I have mine right there. Mm-hmm. And like, I know that gave you some weird, like kiddish, like, holy shit, look at this thing.
It's pretty
like
sick.
giddiness, right? And I think there's something to that, man. It's that giddy. I mean, a lot of that I think is gearheadness. Also, I think that's a common trait amongst drone people and ski people and camera people, and generally adrenaline junkie car guy. Like there's definitely like a gear aspect and that tech aspect.
You ever go on the mountain and you see the dude rocking like the old wooden skis though, like the straight skis, and you're like, and he's got the old school gear on too, and you're just like, that guy's badass. That's the baddest motherfucker on the mountain. I wonder if that's what it's going to be like for drones eventually. You're going to see Jet out there rocking like 4S when there's going to be like 18S. And he's going to be rocking.
We're kind of there, aren't we? Like, there's the whole like, people are like, yeah, I still rock my analog.
Yeah, I think we've jumped the shark on that one. That's
I think that's still a thing, man. Like having that clout, right? That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's that like, yo, look, I still did this, and I'm running individual ESCs.
It's like 2018 Vanover, basically. I don't need 6S. I'm going to light my batteries on fire.
Catching cables on fire.
Well, cool. Well, with all that, I want to jump into some listener questions. So I've got I posted on Instagram earlier, and you guys all commented. So we asked a bunch of questions on Instagram. Good Flight started our own Instagram account now, so you should go follow that. We need to
follow that.
Have people there so that we can ask questions, all that stuff. So I also posted to my own NERC story because I actually have some people that are following there. Cam FTV wants to know, what is your chankonabe recipe?
Chankonabe?
CHANKONABE.
So for Japanese food, one of my favorite, I'm making sure that the URL is correct.
Is Googling the recipe right now.
No, I'm looking at what the lady that I like to use, her recipes. Oh, just one cookbook. That's my go-to, like if you want Japanese food.
Yeah.
Justonecookbook.com. She has very easy to follow, very good Japanese recipes.
Nice.
That's what I was.
So that's where you get your chankonabe?
Yeah, I mean that's where I would look first. When I want to make some Japanese food, that's my go-to.
Nature Digital Photography says or asks, best HD build for long range. Pretty easy plug.
Yeah, probably the Project 399 Super G Plus. I think my two frames, at least the Super G and the Super G Plus, pretty much cover the 5 to 7 inch spectrum and everything in between.
Project399.com. Yeah. Snort Attack, which I love that name. He asks, how did you get an FPV, which we covered, but he asks, why do you still fly? So in 20 seconds, why do you still fly?
Wait, first off, Snort Attack, is that what, are you sure, NERC, that's not your alias name?
That was
from
Snore Attack.
Oh, it's
not Snort.
Got it.
I think my answer would be because it's fun.
Cal Shell, what's the fastest drone you've ever flown?
We've flown the Titan. That thing was pretty fast.
Yep.
What is that, 10-inch props?
16-inch X8.
Okay.
That beat a Formula E car off the line.
Yeah.
And then proceeded to explode moments later.
You weren't flying it, though.
That thing was well, I have flown it. I did not fly it then.
That's good.
I want to hear about that.
That blood is off my hands.
Well, we were just talking while you were peeing. Surprise, everybody! We take breaks during filming.
Yeah, I pee. Get over it.
We're gonna do a second episode with Jordan because there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk about still that we didn't even slightly touch.
Formula E, that's a good story too.
Yeah,
I was in New York.
Yep,
you were in Red Hook.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, that's my hood.
He lives in New Jersey.
Did you
Pennsylvania? But
so you probably heard the drone crash from where you were then.
I've heard about it in hearsay. I've heard it's like I've heard about it, and I haven't heard it from firsthand. So
what is the most important part of frame design from Simon Stassi?
I think simplicity. I think it's easy to want to add all these bells and whistles, and features and stuff. And it gets overcomplicated, and now you have like 16 different screws just to hold on this one little carbon plate that is virtually useless. So yeah, I think keep it simple, stupid is the biggest one.
Simon Stassi also asks, and I know he's a pretty big DRL fan, what's your favorite part of DRL?
I think just shenanigans that we get to at the bar after the races.
Come on.
It's true, dude.
Yeah, it's a good time.
We get into
everybody works so hard, and then you just chill, and everybody can kind of celebrate that work.
DRL after hours, except for Vanover because he can't drink.
Jacob 2005. How did Project 399 come about?
I did a shoot with Solomon TV called Skier vs. Drone Racer with the bronze medalist downhill skier from Pyeongchang, Victor Musafet. And it was pretty much a product commercial for Solomon that was like skier versus drones. And at the time, the drone I had just wasn't the right drone. Mm-hmm. So that's how I made. And after that was when I made the Super G, which is a discipline of ski racing, if you didn't know. And so that's why the Super G is called the Super G, because I made it, and I guess the inception of the idea is from a ski race that I did with drones and skis.
I actually didn't know that you started it after that shoot. I can remember that shoot, but I didn't realize that was. I mean, I knew why Super G, but I didn't realize it was right then. That's cool.
Yeah, that was when I was like, I need a drone that does this, this, and this, and so
Tristan, Connor, Twine. Is Vanover faster than Jet?
With a 5-inch drone, probably.
Yeah.
At
Stephen Piot.
On foot?
When does the cookbook come out?
I bet I could beat Vanover in a foot race.
What about
I could beat Vanover in a foot race.
We should have a foot race sometimes with all the DRL pilots.
All right.
Just out of curiosity.
I'm game. But to what distance, though?
Like, is it 100?
We're talking like 100 feet, like sprint.
Oh, no. Okay, I don't want to do that.
No,
my thrust to weight ratio is too low for that. I could beat you all to 6 miles, but I don't think I could beat you all to.
Yeah, I'm not known for my endurance.
But maybe Heads Up. Heads Up is actually getting in shape right now. Anyway, no questions. This is Joby3. No questions, but caught a killer deal on the Super G for my boyfriend. Yeah.
That's a great present.
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
Thanks for supporting.
Dan West, Project 399 going to have any new frames out soon?
Yeah, actually, hopefully, really? By the time this is live.
Yeah, that's why they're all on sale right now, dude.
Yeah, right. No, it's a different. Like the new frame that I'm coming about is called the Steez. It's pretty much a revival of a frame that Zach Thayer, me, and Moke designed.
Show me
back
what
when I
you
lived
got.
In the drone house. Yeah. So we had this frame called the Brap and the Steez, and I'm pretty much like, this is like Evo. It's like Steez evolution. Mm-hmm. For any Mitsubishi fans out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of like a Steez, sort of has my own twist on it.
So use the pod on the front?
So there's two versions. One's a full top plate, one has a pod. It's a 5-inch, but it has 6-inch arms. It's wide. It's right. I could just grab it.
Grab it, please.
Yeah, it's we'll try to describe it for the audio listeners.
And if you're listening on audio, get on the YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is better.
Now, I actually like the audio better. Shout out to all my audio peeps out there.
Okay, so Spotify. I'm seeing.
So this is.
It's too shallow. Just click it over to manual mode.
Yep.
This is. I'm just going to talk about it like this. Okay. But yeah, it's a wide X. But it will fit 6-inch. But I recommend not using 6-inch on it.
Yeah.
And the whole reason is this is more like a freestyle frame. So the Super G is like no props in view, 0 degree camera tilt. You can mount the GoPro on all 4 sides, blah, blah, blah. Like it's a workhorse. I know Paul has a fleet of them for filming purposes.
Literally 6. Full build, ready to go anytime.
What is a fleet? Is a fleet more than 3?
A fleet's 2.
A fleet's 2. Oh, he's got a big fleet. But yeah, so like that's my workhorse filming. And I was like, man, it's great, but I want like a freestyle basher. So that's kind of what this is.
This doesn't look like a basher. Those arms look really, like they're pretty skinny there.
Well, because my bashing is
arms?
done in like the mountains. So the reason for the super wide stance is when you're diving a mountain, there's generally like a really big updraft. And so the wide stance helps with the stability when it's really, really windy. So that's why the arms are so wide. So it's like a mountain cruiser basher kind of free, and it's got the centralized mass. So yeah, it mounts a GoPro right there, battery right there, and it flies like really. Everyone I've sent one to has been like, wow, it's really smooth and stable.
Nice.
So
that's the dream.
I don't know if they're just being suck-ups because they want more free stuff.
Yeah, send me one. I'll tell you how. Right?
Yeah, if anyone can break it, it's John.
All right. Well, and it's like
light it on fire.
Pretty durable. It's got 6 mil arms. You know, but I kind of slacked on it. Moke helped me design that back in April.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing little rumors.
Yeah,
back then.
And then I just wasn't really quite happy with. It's a pain in the ass to build.
Yeah,
is the honest truth.
So you violated your core design principle of simplicity.
It's really simple.
Okay,
like it goes back to the old like the arm bolts are also the stack bolts.
Oh, okay.
Hate it or love it, but it makes it super simple. But yeah, it can fit 20 by 20, 30 by 30. You can throw a Vista in the back. It's got the mounting.
Yep.
Not enough room for air unit. But yeah, it's a cool, something different.
Nice.
At least for me.
Just a few more questions from the actual Instagram post. Halatic FPV from Germany asks, will there be a 12S DSLR lifting frame coming from Project 399?
So if you're Paul, then yes.
Yeah, but I haven't put a Cine camera on it yet. It's also not 12S.
You did the practice rig thing.
I did. That was pretty dumb.
I think that's what
it was awesome.
To.
Yeah, I think it was ripping around.
Dude, it shreds.
That's show ready.
More to come on that project. Be aware. We're starting down some paths. Can you share the Oh yeah, this question got me. Mayan Hawk. Can you share the playlist you listen to during DRL events? Can you put it? Give us a link to Spotify that people can go.
It's literally open right here.
Link in
there
the
it
description. Simon Saucy again. Do you like cheesecake?
Yes.
So does anybody not like cheesecake?
Yeah, how could you not?
What do you put on the What do you put on the cheesecake? Is it just nothing?
Okay, here's a really relevant question.
We had a chai cheesecake last night for Thanksgiving.
Hello.
But it wasn't cheese. It was cashew cream.
Would you say there was a big difference stress and pressure wise going from pre-recorded sim races to live sim races, and how does that compare to live IRL DRL races? This is from Simon Saucy again.
I think that's a different energy. Like Paul, you know how it is, right? Like it's fun, and the pressure's definitely there once we're like, hey, we're live on NBC, and you can like look and see that you're live, and you have to not make a fool of yourself.
Easier said than done.
Yeah, I guess that's more Paul's issue instead of mine.
I'm good at making a fool of myself. That's okay. Let's go. But yeah, I would say like maybe for a quick answer, like the hardest part is amping up. So like most of the time at like a real race, you spend your time trying to calm your nerves. At home, it's just like I gotta go from literally sitting in my pajamas in the basement to I'm performing on national television in the span of 20 seconds, and it's so hard to get your brain to just like click into like I'm competing on the world level now.
Like, babe, I don't want any more spaghetti.
Yeah,
I'm going on TV.
It's more like, can you shut the dogs up, please?
Yeah. That's you probably heard Louis barking just now, man.
Cal Shell, what's the worst / or best drone crash you've ever had?
I know exactly that one. I was filming for the Sun Valley, Idaho travel board or whatever. And we had snowmobiled up like deep into the mountains to ski this one couloir. And my drone, we got socked in for like 3 hours. So we're in a cloud and you can't see anything, and it sucked. And then it kind of cleared up, and I flew, and then my drone fail-safed as I was like cresting the ridge. And it bounced all the way like halfway down. We had no idea where it was. And then the skier came down his run and kind of just traversed over to it and was like, "Hey dude, I got it."
Nice.
So never lost a drone yet.
There you go. Heads up, FPV asks 2 different questions here that I think are both really interesting, things that I like to think about. Drone racing has been around for give or take 6 years. Where do you see it in the next 6? 30 seconds.
Places. I see it in more places. Like, I think it's going to be more and more kind of like a tech esports sort of, like, I think it's just going to keep on going. I mean, the passion's there, right? Like, that's the key is the community passionate. And I don't think there's any doubt about that.
And then his follow-up to that was, if drone racing disappeared tomorrow, and I'm gonna expand his question to say all drone flight, like if you couldn't do drones for work anymore
at all,
what would your new dream job be?
Working at the Staples. I love Staples.
That's your dream job.
Yeah, bag boy at the grocery store. My dream job would probably just be doing more like operator, camera, photography, whatever, that kind of stuff.
Write a cookbook.
Yeah, or a cookbook.
Moving
Those are 2 very
Canada,
different
flying drones in Canada.
All right. That does it for listener questions.
Oh, wait, we got one more question here from Instagram user Johnny Drones checking in. Hey, Johnny.
Sounds like what? Dumbass.
Okay. Johnny says, what is your fondest / sexiest darkroom memory that you had in the darkroom?
That's a dangerous question to put out publicly. I think we're just going to skip that one.
Okay, that's a good question. You gotta
that's a great answer.
It's hot in here. It's hot, guys. If you're listening and you're
there's
young,
like practically smoke in the background at your place.
Yeah,
so hot.
Where my button is.
He's reaching for the remote.
I don't know where it is. Guys, if you're young out there, if you're young and you have the chance of taking a photography class in high school, do it.
It's a good time, man. Like,
do they still have darkroom photography in high school, or is it all digital?
In high school, I would probably.
I don't know,
man.
I don't know, but I do know that at least for like my entire high school to college career, I smelled like vinegar because that's what the darkroom.
But it had nothing to do with the darkroom.
Oh yeah,
it was because you were working on your cookbook. Boom. Okay. Are we good with listener questions then, John?
Yeah. Thanks, Johnny Drones, for that
salacious one. So, Jordan, the next segment of the show is
Drone Pilots React.
Sponsored by AirViews. We're going to take a look at some different clips that they've sent over from their website. It's basically YouTube for drones, and we're going to kind of just watch those over, react to what we see on screen. Feel free to be mean, feel free to be excited. However, you can critique the way that it's done, or you should explain to them why they should have been flying a Project 399 Super G, link in the description. It's up to you. So, Winston, our drone video sommelier. What do you have for us tonight?
So tonight I've got some tasty drone videos. One from Italy. Actually, I think there's 2 from Italy. And another one from a colder region. I'm not quite sure.
You know what? Let's not forget about like the grand old God bless America here. All right. I love the European videos, but let's bring it back.
You just get jealous.
I do.
The days when we traveled. All right, guys. So the first clip is location that kind of caught me. The flying itself, well, you'll see here in a second, and we'll describe it for those who can't.
Okay, the video is called Imperial Rome by... Oh, wow.
So this is Drono, Druno.
Druno, like Bruno, but with a drone. Druno. Oh, look at the bird!
Cue the bird.
FPV flying through like what looks like ruins, Roman Empire ruins.
Yeah,
you got to hit that gap though. That last tree there.
What a spot to fly!
Right? So the video is in Rome, and in the back of the video, you can see different parts where you can actually see the Colosseum in the background. There's the tall columns that are left behind, just there, and nothing else behind them.
I'm so taken by the spot that I'm not even thinking about like what the flying is. Like, it's fine. Little backwards and forwards action, little reverse. It doesn't look like it's stopped down, so it's maybe a little bit high shutter angle. if I'm going to be really critical. But that is a sweet spot to fly. Let's go back and watch.
I want to watch that again for sure.
There's like birds flying around through the frame and stuff too, which is really cool.
I like this first angle coming down in.
Seagulls down on the bottom. Then there's like a couple. Oh, there's a Coliseum. A couple, like, I guess it's a Phantom 4 shots that are mixed in as well.
Gimbal drones.
They're tying together pretty well.
Dude, this would be so
I
want to fly there.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I went there, instead of being all cinematic like this, I'd want to just be like,
you just wah.
And that's how you get kicked out of a spot like that.
I'm so down to just cine whoop it. I love that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It's like there's a lot of quick cuts, little fast backwards, reverse footage stuff going on here. It's a beautiful location. Let's just like chill out and let's explore it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm in love with that. Cool. Thank you, Daruno.
Great job not getting arrested flying there.
Yeah, let's assume he had permission.
All right, guys. The next one kind of pulled in one of my older passions.
Motosifonia di Autunno Alps, Northern Italy.
Love it.
Exactly. And this is from the TimeLab Pro.
TimeLab again.
One of their videos last time.
Second appearance.
I couldn't say no to this one. Look at these shots. So it's the Italian Alps. They're doing a really good job of just awesome angles, good lighting, clouds everywhere.
Parallax stuff is that's inspired to heaven.
I'm speechless right now. This is
that lens flare is not inspired too, right there. That lens flare was like a rectilinear.
It was something else.
Yeah.
Dang.
So this one features some of the MV Agusta motorcycles, which are made in Italy here, and some of the shots here where it's going down switchback after switchback with huge snow-covered mountains in the background and fall colors in the foreground. It's just gorgeous.
Late in the day, parallaxing trees, and I mean, obviously I want everything to be FPV, but like some FPV would really work well with this, I think.
Well, what would you do if you were on this shoot? What would your shot be?
It would definitely involve those switchback sections, like mountains to switchback, close-up chasing, and then continuing on out of the frame.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's where you nail it with like the FPV, like close proximity. You got to get that wide angle lens close to the subject.
Big to close to big again. Tell a story through that. Yeah, absolutely. That's so sick.
Oh, this is good. Give me the chills there. TimeLab.
I want to go to there. A train. My favorite.
Camera quality is excellent.
It's like an old-timey steam train, too. That's really cool. MB Ride. That is so sick. Looks like a jib shot. TimeLab. Can we work together, please?
They did a great job. That's beautiful.
They spent so much time getting to the right spot at the right time of day. Like that had to have been filmed over like 3-4 weeks minimum just to get the good weather.
I say 2-3 days. They got lucky. 2-3 days.
You think? Like they were going to so many different spots.
All right. So what are rental cars for?
TimeLab. Comment.
A rental car.
Awesome, guys. All right, the next video is inspired by some of the work that Jordan has done in the past, and it's also something you guys kind of mentioned on. It is not a Jordan video, but it's still a pretty cool one. This is from
ski stuff.
Tom
Z. Yeah, I like Tom Z.
Oh, yeah, his stuff's so good, man.
This is what I'm talking about. Close up.
Is this Super G right here?
No, probably not. See, that's what I like. Butts. There's a lot of butts in FPV.
Yeah,
like
he punched the drone.
The back shots are I think where it's at, man.
Yeah, it's so hard to do well though.
How was he doing that?
You just go in front of him and have the skier chase you.
Yeah, for sure.
And cross your fingers.
Because I saw that on some of your mountain bike stuff, Jet. It's like, how is that biker not hitting the drone? It's just you just tell them, be like, don't hit the drone.
Well, you match their pace, and then you just go in front
he catches it at the end.
That's awesome.
I love that.
That's great. They did.
That was
like short and sweet.
Needed an ND filter, but it was good. It's good. So thank you very much to AirViews for sponsoring this segment. We've also pulled some other stuff that's not sponsored by AirViews, so I just wanted to make that distinction. Thanks, guys.
All right, so this is something we were just talking about, and I had this video pulled up because there's some cool stuff he did with this, and I kind of want to get your take on how it went down.
Shredding the forest with Jameson. A Jet video.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a Jet video. So yeah, this is a dude who emailed me and was like, "Hey man, my name's Jameson, and I ride mountain bikes up hour away from you. Let's shred sometime." So we did. This was over the span of like 2.5, 3 hours. We hiked to the top and then just did that trail like section by section.
And he is laser focused.
Oh yeah,
he's doing a really good job of not looking at the camera.
He was ripping. Well, I think there was a lot to.
Yeah, but like sometimes with like follow footage, like the guy just stares at the camera. Like when you're doing the tail chase.
Yeah, he's a pro, man.
Yeah, he looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was just more like a proof of concept. Just like, hey, let's go and just see what happens. And it turns out we meshed really well because that's like a big part of it, right? Is like if you... Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about that when we were doing this. Whatever. But it was just like, how do you connect with the talent, right? Yeah. Like if you're not vibing, it's going to be so hard to get shots like that.
Did those guys at the bottom know you were coming?
Those are some kids that had like just all of a sudden
there's just this drone ripping down.
Just like boom right over them. It's great.
It's awesome.
But yeah, so that was like, it was cool, man. And that's a big part of what I try and do is get front shots because I've seen my fair share of butt cam.
Lots of butts in FPV.
And I don't really find butt cam to be all that compelling or interesting.
Sure.
And so this was just us going out there and doing it.
Yeah. So for you guys listening out there, we're looking at one of Jet's videos of a mountain biker shredding down the mountain. He's wearing a sweet ass yellow turtleneck thing, long sleeve. Was that a deliberate choice? So I was giving him more protection in case you hit him with your drone.
No, that was a geyser. Yeah, so he would have been fine.
Nice. And there's a lot of follow cam, a little bit of follow cam, but a lot of leading cam. So we're looking backwards at him. And then I guess what do you do? Just mount the GoPro backwards on the guys or on the underside? On the bottom,
point it backwards. And then what we normally ended up doing was like he'd start and then I'd kind of like figure out what his pace was and then pass him.
Okay.
And then so you can go, okay, this is his pace. And then you just kind of try and keep that pace while he tries to stay stuck to you.
Might be helpful to have like a second or like another set of eyes so you just like they can tell you to slow down or speed up a little bit.
So you know what I want? I have
review camera
requesting a rear view camera picture in picture DJI. If you could do 2 DJI cams, 1 air unit, and then have the rear view be a picture in picture, kind of like how the Inspire 2 has the FPV camera you can picture in picture.
Yep.
That would be the most next level. Like I think that would be the best technology jump for like how do FPV pilots get more cool footage?
Yeah.
And I think picture in picture rear view camera would be the best upgrade in terms of technology for cinematic FPV, whatever, filming with an FPV drone.
We had Donovan Davis on, who's the lead pilot and United States test engineer for all of DJI.
Mm-hmm.
We'll bring it up.
Picture in picture, please.
So
I don't care if I have to carry a second air unit, like, whatever it takes.
Yeah. So I was actually just talking about that last weekend because I've been flying the Inspire 2 with the air unit a lot. And I've been doing some, so I wear the goggles on when I'm piloting the Inspire 2, just so I can get as low or whatever, fly it as confidently like a racing drone or whatever, so,
right.
But I don't see what the camera sees. And we were doing some car work. Literally the camera was 8 inches off the ground, the X7, and we were leading a car. So if I could see what the camera was seeing in the little picture in picture,
yeah,
right,
I would be super, super helpful. So for those shots, I couldn't use the goggles.
Why? Yeah, couldn't you just fly off a screen then at that point?
It was literally in 35-mile-an-hour winds, crosswinds, up in Cape Cod.
Woof.
And I just couldn't go as low. So for the leading shot, I did pull off the goggles, and flew with traditional FPV on the Inspire 2. But one of the things that I was thinking how to try to fix that was Epson makes these little HDMI heads-up glasses that are like really nerdy, and they were developed for DJI drones or whatever, but they have a little tiny heads-up screen. So I was thinking about like deconstructing those and putting one of those inside of the DJI goggles, so I could just have a picture-in-picture.
I was going down the way more low budget of literally just taking a tiny mirror and putting it in front of the camera, the DJI camera.
I mean, that's also that's a great thought awesome. Too. I'm like a bike mirror, like what you have as like a bicyclist, just like in real life, you have these tiny little mirrors. Yeah, that would be cool too.
It's just for reference, it's just you like glance at it real quick just to be like, am I far or close? Do I need to speed up or slow down?
Minimum focus on the air unit is really far away. It's like 6 inches. If you're minimum focusing on a mirror, does it work?
Yeah, it'd be infinity. It'd be whatever.
It's still okay. All right, yeah. That's what I'm asking. I don't know how to ask that, but yeah.
Yeah, you're focusing on the thing you're focusing on. I have an analog. Like, I bought this board from some company somewhere that is a miniature like multiplexer. So you take 2 analog cameras and it can do picture-in-picture analog. But I don't fly analog anymore for any of my filming stuff. And I think it like, I haven't really done too much testing, but it adds a bit of latency.
Yeah. You also reduce your resolution. Like, you're already very limited resolution.
Well, it would just be adding on. Like, it would be just like overlaying picture in picture.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah.
Do you know if you can do like a cheater quad with the digital FPV, like one of those little Boss Cam switchers? Can you like?
You could do it like on the goggles, like channel 2, channel 1, channel 2, channel 1.
Oh man.
Yeah, there's no.
But then it doesn't switch your controls. So like on my, I just flew a Geyser 2 days ago for a Cinewhoop job, and I have the cheater set up for it. And I flip my switch, boom, there goes my controls.
Right.
I don't know. There's got to be a little a signal wire inside of the DJI FPV system that you could still hook up to that.
I mean, they have the picture-in-picture, at least software side, for like the Inspire, right? So,
but that's all through the app.
I know.
So it's like, I don't know. I'm thinking about.
Well, that's why we got to get DJI product manager guy on it.
Donovan Davis.
Yeah. The problem is, are they going to make a feature that like 10 people will use?
Dozens of us would use. Yeah. Yes.
I don't know.
They will, and they should. The only other option is to do monitors. So it would be like 2 goggles, 2 smart controllers, 2 monitors, and then 2 air monitors.
It's already like there's so much latency into the.
That's true.
Into the smart controller monitor.
Smart controller. It's like 500 milliseconds. It's
because we did that with analog, where it was like screen here, screen here, screen here.
Right.
I had a buddy in Colorado that did that, and he had a camera forward, a camera up top, and a camera behind. Okay. He would
that's cool.
Fly with all 3, and it's insane.
I'm impressed.
But like, it would be really nice to just have that in one. It'd be an air module with 2 camera outputs,
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do.
I already did all the work for you, DJ. There you go.
In fact, here's my royalty.
Yeah.
Winston, you got one more video for us?
So I have one more. Just this one, I'm excited. I want you guys to see it. I think you'll get excited about this one, John.
Oh yeah, I'm always excited.
John, so
it's got to be high end, real classy.
Komodo 6K FPV drones. Is this Ross?
Is this Ross's?
No, the drone studio. I don't know who that is.
Let me grab.
I saw this.
Oh yeah, I saw this. I was disappointed that it was mostly follow footage and not actually the red.
This is all red though. This is like they uploaded the raw.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, man.
Did they bring an Atmo? John, I think you need to hit some more smoke in your room right now.
Yep, on it.
There's just a guy running around through that forest.
I love those shadows.
Dispenser.
I mean, that's basically how it works.
Yeah, shout out to the smoke. I'm going to smoke it out here.
The clip we're looking at is a red Komodo. I forget which frame it's on, but it's flying very slowly over a creek, and did a really good job
Yeah,
geyser.
it's
an insider.
The big geyser insider.
And then the sun is coming just over the horizon through the trees and some fog that's over the water. It's just, you can see the shadows just going for days. It's a really cool shot.
It's a smoke machine for sure.
On just all those God rays.
Yeah.
Like
he's got the aperture wide open, or wait, stop down.
It's not a smoke machine, Nurk. It's a fog machine. Okay. I don't want to tell you again.
It's not that vape niche.
Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah.
You know what? I don't think it looks as good as it should.
You're saying like if someone was like, that's also a GoPro 9 in 5K, you'd be like, yeah.
Yeah, because
Right.
That exposure is blown out right there. I like the lens flare.
Right. The only difference of that and a GoPro is the lens flare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Like you could essentially get that.
He's probably looking further down into the shadows too. Like the dynamic range is helping him out a little bit, probably.
Yeah.
I think I mean, this was also stabilized in post because you could see that lens flare dancing around a little bit.
XP.
Yeah, it's definitely SID XP.
So like where I've seen at least like a Komodo use really well is Vanover and Aether's like Ducati commercial.
Yeah.
Because that's like
filming at night using the low light.
Well, I think they had like a 15 mil on there or something, and with the crop factor, that's like 20 mil equivalent. So you're more on the subject, like and I think that's where, because once you throw the GoPro into linear mode, it starts to look pretty boopy.
Yeah. Rectilinear lenses are nice as well.
Well, that's a Laowa 9, which is
right. That's what I'm saying. Is this looks good because of that?
Right there. But yeah, like I think that's where the Komodo is really going to start to shine. Is once you start throwing some narrower lenses on.
I don't know how I feel about the narrower lenses. It just highlights the imperfections.
What's the difference of a Komodo with a 9mm and a GoPro, other than like maybe the stop extra of dynamic range that you get?
I think you get more of a stop.
Yeah, you get more than a stop. You get color. You get B raw or not B raw. Red.
You get R3D.
You get.
You get all those.
I also don't think the Laowa 9mm is very good, honestly.
No, it's really wide.
It's wide, and it also does some like funky things in the corners. There's a lot of
there's vignetting even.
Yeah, shoot in 6K, punch in.
Sure, or I think there's going to be some other lenses potentially. Or maybe some heavier lenses that
they're also so
even some
light.
Bigger drones.
That's the best part.
Yeah, they are really tiny.
A Komodo with the Laowa 9 and a single battery is around 1,400 grams.
Hey,
Did.
Look.
Oh,
we're Komodo buddies. What do you got on there? Oh, we have the same lens.
The 24-105.
I have the 16 to 35.
Oh yeah, this is 24. Well, this is just like how I'd leave it on the shelf.
Yep. I just got the new Polar Pro matte box.
I see that.
Which is all right. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Better than what I was going to go with, which was the Bright Tangerine matte box.
Yeah, where it has the text all over it.
Mm-hmm.
You look so like...
you look like you know what you're doing.
And action.
It's such a cool camera, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm really stoked on the Komodo also.
Yeah, I want to get one.
And my issue has been like shooting a Komodo with an 9mm Laowa. Like, yes, there are some minor gains over a GoPro, but there's also a lot of downsides where like now you're flying it like a Cinewhoop and you lose all of... No, I just mean like the whole point to me of flying an FPV quad is the like FPV-ness, right? And then when you throw a Komodo, well, and being able to flip and roll and crazy high G maneuvers, and when you throw a Komodo on a drone like a 7-inch drone, it's like it flies, but are you really flying FPV?
Mm-hmm.
And that's been something I've been trying to grapple with is like,
The problem for me is you go to a DP on a major project where they're shooting on an RELF, and they say, "What camera are you going to use?" I get laughed at for saying a Blackmagic.
Oh, sure.
And they barely will even consider a Komodo at that point. So it's like, I want to work in these industries, and I know the look of a GoPro, and I can paint with a GoPro. So I want something that has the similar canvas of a GoPro. And so that, to me, that's why I want that wide lens, is because I know what's going to be framed the way that I want it for the production that they're asking me to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think
so. It's at a certain point, it's permission to play.
I also think too is like, granted, looking at that footage being screen shared on a Zoom call versus on a big screen in a movie theater.
Yeah,
you might notice a difference between
the dead
GoPro.
Industry. It's not coming back.
Movies,
movie theaters.
Oh, I love going to the movie theaters, dude.
Me too.
You cut a hole in the bottom of the popcorn bucket.
There's a hole in the top already.
Oh,
it's for all reaching in butter.
Cool. Well, I think that's probably a good place to start wrapping it up.
Wrap it up,
on
everybody.
That twice.
But Jet, you've been here all night sharing your wisdom and everything. I want to put the chance back to you to kind of pitch your stuff. So what do you got going on? What do you want people to know about? What links do you want us to put in the description?
I don't know, man. I don't think I have any.
Come on.
Nah, man. Like we've already talked about Super G's.
Yep.
And that's really
all right. I'll do it again. I don't
Come
know
on,
this keeps
Paul.
happening.
Bring the noise.
Jordan Jet Temkin, the two-time DRL Allianz world champion of drone racing, can be found on Instagram, JetFPV, jet.fpv, on YouTube as Jordan Temkin, and he has a company that manufactures the most badass racing drone, or like FPV drone frame. I have literally 6 built. I have 7 actually with my 10-inch version, and you should absolutely go support him by following his Instagram, YouTube, and buying a frame. So thank you very much, Jet, for being on the show tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. It was great.
I think you're going to be coming back because we got a whole lot of stuff that we didn't even get a chance to scratch the surface of. So many more.
Like we could argue about those Komodos all night.
Well, let's get some more. Let's get us in here with a non-FPV camera nerd and try to argue against the Komodo, or argue for GoPros over top of that. Let's see what happens. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I'm game. Hello.
So thanks everybody very much for hanging out tonight. Thank you so much, Jordan, for spending 2.5 hours of your time with us and with all of the people listening and watching behind the scenes. And keep flying.
Whoa. We also got some Paul, you can't forget to plug the Good Flight podcast. We have the Good Flight podcast Instagram at Good Flight.
Oh yeah,
podcast
I just followed
on Instagram. This is brand new.
Away. I don't know what you've been doing.
I'm number 32.
33 followers, people.
34.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm not even following it yet. Okay? If I'm honest, I'm not following it yet. But if you can, this is a chance for you guys to follow Good Flight Podcast before I, John Graham, co-host, follows Good Flight Podcast. Let's do it. Let's build this little Good Flight Instagram page. We can retweet, we can repost stuff together, and we can have fun with it.
And if you do follow it and leave a comment on our picture that we're going to post of this magical box, you might get some goodies shipped to you. Yeah. And it won't be a hole in the bottom of the box.
I have an Instagram everyone should follow.
Go.
At Louis with the curls.
There you go.
Can we get Louis?
Yeah, bring Louis. So those of you that are only video or only audio are missing out because
not happening.
What just happening?
He heard someone at the door.
Oh.
That's mine. That's Lou.
That's Louis with the curls.
That's Louis with the curls. So if you want to see what he looks like,
he's shouting himself out right now. He's like, guys, follow me now. Follow me now.
That was great timing for someone to knock on the door and him just go off.
God, he's an animal. That dog is an animal.
He's crazy.
Thanks everybody so much for hanging out tonight. It's been awesome chatting with Jet. Again, huge fan. I could be talking all night but I won't make you guys listen to us argue about Reds anymore.
They're best friends.
Thank you for watching tonight, and keep flying the good flight.